So we are here today with Rick Barnes, Tarrant County Tax Assessor. Yeah?
That's right.
How long?
13 months.
Okay. So what we want to do today is every leader has a story. So we want to dig deep and find out who you are and what your story is. So I want to start with, where were you born and raised?
So I was born in Fort Worth. I'm a Gladney baby. I was adopted as an infant. Grew up in what I call West Texas, South Plains of Texas. We lived in 7 towns before I went to college. My dad was a coach, retired as a superintendent. Every time he moved up a level, we moved about 150 miles. So if you can think of towns up and down 287 and up and down 114, I lived in most of them. So,
really?
Yeah.
How did that impact you?
So moving around, I tell people I was a military brat without the military because we moved a lot. But the real years that we lived in 2 locations, but met a lot of people, learned a lot of things, learned how to get along with different groups of people. And I would say, looking back on it, when I was a kid, I didn't like it at all. But looking back on it, it was probably a good thing for all of us to just learn how to work with different kinds of people in different environments, different locations, and it was probably part of growing up for us.
Do you think that was the number one thing that had an impact on you in your early years?
I was also an athlete. That was probably more impactful than anything, because you learn how to work as a team. That was always team sports for me. You learn to work with a team. You learn how to realize that you have an impact upon other people with the decisions you make, and they have an impact on you with the decisions they make. I was also a class officer. I was all the way back to junior high when we didn't even know what a class president did. I was one of those. So I was always one of those that didn't want to just be a member. I wanted to be in charge. I wanted to be a leader. And so all of that had a huge impact upon where I am today. When I went to college, I was an economics and finance major and came out of college in the mid-'80s when everything was going bad economically. The savings loans were all going broke, and I thought I wanted to go into banking, and that didn't work out. And this many years later, I'm finally in a job where I'm actually putting all that to use.
Oh, yeah.
So I think as we're talking about how your background impacts your future, I can look back at all kinds of things that have impacted how I've got where I am today.
Okay. Let me ask you first, do you have siblings?
I do. 2 sisters, and we're all adopted.
Okay.
So therefore, we're all very, very different.
Okay.
We all kind of live in our own little way of doing things.
Are they younger, older?
They're both younger. I'm the oldest.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So did you know what direction? You said what you took in college, but growing up before you graduated, did you know what you wanted to do? Did you have an idea?
No. My parents were both in education, and I probably thought I wanted to go in education back then. Until I realized that I didn't think you could make any money in education. And I thought, well, money's kind of fun. Let's go do more something that would, be more beneficial. I should have been a coach. I should have been a teacher. So when I got to college, my undergraduate economics and finance, my master's is in liberal arts, and I had an education background then. And I thought I wanted to go into higher education administration. Glad I didn't do that either, but so I kind of have just some things that through life I thought I was going one direction, I'd make a change and go another direction. But I don't know when I got to college, it was probably everybody was going to business school, so I did too. I don't know that I thought that through as far as I could have, but it was things work out the way they're supposed to, and so they did in my life. So
was there a pivot point after high school that put you on a course, a decision that you made, or something that happened that changed your course? Well, what I really wanted to do coming out of high school is continue to play sports. But I was young for my age. I graduated from high school when I was 17, so my body was also a year behind everybody else. I ran into a coach my junior year of college, and he said, if you had that body whenever we were doing high school, you would have been a better athlete. I was following my dad. My dad played college football at Baylor, and I thought, well, that's what I want to go do. So my pivot points were that I just wasn't always physically ready to do what I thought I wanted to do. And then followed, as I got into college, just went through the right kind of classes. So
I would say it was probably junior year of college before I actually thought, well, now I know where I'm headed. But then senior year, it all changed again because savings loans went all broke. And so then you go back to school and get a master's degree and keep trying to figure out what's next, what's going to happen. And in my world, it seems like it always just kind of worked its way out without me having to. Again, I think things happen for a reason. And in my world, they all had a reason that impacted what we did.
Okay. So that's kind of been a pattern for you then.
Yeah.
You've always flown kind of whatever happens, you're adjusting.
Yeah. Adjust and be ready
Okay.
for the change. And I think I got used to that. That may be, we look back at childhood and making those moves.
Yeah.
You had to adjust into a new environment. And I'm pretty ready to do that even still, when things happen. Politics the same way. I was on city council. I never planned to be on city council. I actually got recruited. I had a group call me and say, you should go run for city council. I thought that was the dumbest idea you could come up with. And then I do
High
it.
five.
And then I do it and it works out very well.
Yeah.
And then, you get another call. You ought to run for this. I'm like, that's the dumbest idea ever. And then you do it and it works. And so this one wasn't like, the tax assessor wasn't like that, but everything, it seems like leading up to this point, it was always impact from other people asking me to do things. So,
was there one person in your life that had an impact on who you are?
my dad for sure.
Okay.
He was the coach that, and encouraged me. What was interesting about him as I was growing up, he's passed now, and we talked about this a little bit whenever he was still alive, was he played football. He came out of high school. We didn't know this until he passed away. My mom had that box of stuff that she had kept her whole life, and we were given that whenever Dad passed away. And you go through it, he could have played 3 sports out of college anywhere he wanted to play.
Wow.
And we never knew any of that, but I knew he played football. And but he never pushed me to do anything. He always supported anything I wanted to do, but never pushed. And so yeah, it was just an environment where you figure out what works for you. And what worked for me did not work for my sisters. They went a different route. But I was always sports, class leadership, that kind of stuff. And so as I would get involved, they would support. And then as I would find something else, get involved, he would support. So I asked him at one point why he never pushed me to be an athlete, because that was his background. And I think his attitude was, you needed to be you, not be what I was. And, you see parents today that really want their kid to become what they were, and it doesn't always work out.
What they weren't, yeah.
Try to become what they weren't able to do when they were young. It worked out for me. So I think my dad probably had a bigger impact on me than anybody.
Okay. So what kind of internally drives you? I mean, what?
I got to see that I'm making an impact. I got to see that I'm making progress. If things become too routine for me, I can get bored really easily. I'm an entrepreneur in thought. That's kind of my mindset. I'm always wanting to do something, always wanting to bring about a change, always wanting to get something done. The good thing where I'm at right now is there's plenty to do. There's plenty more to bring about change with. So that's probably my challenge at all times, is just trying to look for that next thing. My other world is insurance, and the insurance is constantly changing, whether we like it or not. and not is more of the bigger word right now. But there's just always something in that world. And so that's probably my motivator more than anything.
So tell me about, after college, your career path. How did that?
Yeah, I came out of college, again, back to the savings loan thing. That just didn't work. The banking world wasn't for me. So I went back, or wasn't for anybody really. I went back and got my master's and thought I was going to go into higher ed. So I did work for 12 years in higher ed at TCU, at Clemson University, and then back at TCU. But then I got a call. I was a speaker and consultant for 20 years and traveled all over the world, really. I had a friend that was a speaker at the time on the college circuit, and he was passing through town, and he said, well, what have you been doing this fun lately? And I said, well, I got called to go speak at this school. In education, you would take kids to events, and and I just hated being the bus driver. So I would go, and while we were there, I would do whatever it is they were doing. And I was at Texas A&M of all places, and I say of all places, so I'm a Texas Tech alum, but I was doing a program down there, and I had a student from what was Texas A&M Commerce. Well, it is Texas A&M Commerce, East Texas State at the time. Said, would you come do that for us at our school? So I went and did it, and this friend came through that's what he was doing professionally, and I told him about that, and he said, well, did they pay you? And I said, they paid me $25. I just thought I was so set. And he said, you spent more on gas than you did making money doing that. And so he kind of coached me through the process of how to do that. And so I literally turned it into a profession. And so for 20 years I was traveling. I was traveling about 210 days a year, airplane every single day, airport, hotel every single night. And after a while, it was just enough. The people that sit in first class on airplanes aren't there because they want to be. They're there because they have enough points to sit up front. And I was sitting with those guys, and just eventually I was just tired of traveling. But that part of my world is still impactful today, because that learning how to get in front of an audience and speak. I would have audience of 20 up to audiences of 4,000 in a ballroom, and not everybody wants to do that. Not everybody, but apparently one of the biggest fears in the world is speaking in front of groups, and I just don't have that fear. I can get up in front of people and talk about almost anything. So all those little things, that I think when you look back at your life, you have those little things that have an impact, and eventually you can put it all together in a package and make it something. And I feel like that's where I'm at right now.
So you did that for 20 years, and then...
And then whenever I got tired of traveling, I got off the road, and that's when I started the insurance business. Insurance I wasn't planning on getting into either. I had a friend that was a farmer's insurance agent. He was actually a friend, I say. He was actually the ring bearer in our wedding when he was 4 years old. And I was friends with his dad, and he called me probably 13 years ago and said, I'm wanting to grow our insurance business. And he's no longer with farmers. He was the #1 farmer's agent in the nation with agricultural product. And they bought him out because eventually in insurance, you've done what you can do, and they buy you out. And so he took that and turned it into an insurance company. He said, I'd like to open an office in Dallas, Fort Worth. Do you know anybody that'd be interested? And I said, well, I'll look around. It sure isn't me. I don't want to start anything new right now. And about 2 years later, I called him back and I said, you still want to do that? And he said, yeah. He said, I wanted you to do it. I just didn't know how to ask. And so we started an insurance office. And so I've been doing that now for 12 years. But on top of that was politics, and so doing all that all at once. And of course, the politics that I was in until this one were full-time positions with no pay, and so you got to keep working somewhere. So I still have the insurance business. I'll always keep that. That's kind of our background, and it's where my wife's involved in that in some ways now. And so that was that's world, and then it led into where we're at today with tax assessor.
Okay. So when you look at the future, where do you see yourself? Or do you?
I want to be the best tax assessor-collector we've ever had. Doesn't that sound like a politician? never admit where they're headed. I don't know that I'm headed anywhere. I really do love this job. It's I think it's what I was made to be.
Why?
But all the way back to education. I'm actually finally, the insurance world too, putting my education to use. But serving the public the way we serve, serving in a county the size of Tarrant County, we got a really good operation going on in it, and it's a large operation. This is not a small office. It's one of the 6 countywide elected officials, and so I work with a great team, have a great office, have a great staff. It seems to be the perfect environment for me. If there comes a time where there are new opportunities out there, you can't pass up looking at those, but I don't anticipate, I'm not on the look at all right now for anything.
Okay. So what are when you came into the office, what were some of the aha moments that you went, what?
There was a lot of those. I knew what this job included. I knew what it involved. The level of money that we work with is astronomical. Our office does about $6 billion a year, a little over $6 billion. That's just crazy money. I knew what that meant until I saw it on paper. That's a lot of zeros. But then also just the reality of day by day. We do about $2 million a day through our office. And I don't know how that money sounds for other people, but that's a lot of money in my world. And so that was a big aha moment, getting used to that. The other reality, I think I knew that taxes. There's two things that everybody hates: insurance and taxes, and I do both. I do both.
So popular.
But the world of taxes, I think everybody recognizes that you have to have some way to pay for the services of the communities or the schools or whatever it is that we're talking about at the time. But they don't like to have to pay for more than they need to pay for. So that opportunity to work with people and work on ways to get taxes down as low as they can, that goes all the way back to my city council days. I used to say that as a city councilman. I hated things like bonds. I just thought, you can call it a bond, you can call it whatever you want to call it. It's still just another tax. And I just always have hated those things. But I've also always believed that people are going to spend money. I just like to let them spend it where they want to spend it versus government telling them where to spend it. And so I like to keep taxes as low as I can. And the aha moment for me in this world is that you hear very regularly that the tax assessor-collector doesn't set the taxes, and that's very true. We don't determine how much the taxes are. We just assess them and collect them. But because you're in the role, you do have an impact. And so I work a whole lot with a lot of mayors and city council types, and particularly in helping them understand there are ways to get your taxes down. But maybe more so than anything is working with the taxpayer and helping them understand how to work with their city council and how to work with their school boards, and understanding that they have city councils, as an example, spend about 9 months of their 12-month year doing nothing but their budget. They're always asking for input. When I was on city council, we would have very public meetings about our budget, and very few public showed up. And I encourage people, you got to get over there and you got to have a voice in what's going on in those conversations. The budgeting process, the big ahas for us, this position may be one of the most certified positions there are, because there are so many certifications you have to have for these positions. I did 85 hours of CE credits last year alone for this job. And you start really learning how the sausage is made in this business, and you start realizing the impact that you actually can have if you understand how it works. And so a lot of what we talked about was with folks of how to get involved in the conversations. I like getting out and doing events like this because you have an opportunity to share those thoughts with people.
Okay. So I'm going to do a little lightning round with you. Okay. So I'm just going to fire something and you fire back at me. All right. So, a book that shaped you.
So beside my bed, I have a stack of books that that never seem to go away, and because I tend to start books, and that's not a lightning answer at all.
It's okay.
I start books and then realize I need to go back and finish some books. But one of the books that's there is the Holy Bible. There's just things like that impact your day to day, and so I always use that as the answer. I think it's a safe answer, but because all my other answers, if it's a John Maxwell book, I can tell you authors that I really like.
Yeah.
I like Maxwell. I like a lot of the leadership things. I like hearing about. I'm reading a Fetterman book right now of Senator Fetterman. You would have never thought that if you know Rick Barnes very well, you would have never thought that Rick Barnes and Fetterman might understand each other. But that guy's just a very interesting cat.
He is.
And so I've been reading his latest book.
Isn't it funny? He's the one making sense now.
Yeah, from the other side. Yeah, and in reality, just getting us kind of a little bit back to the way it used to be, where we actually knew how to work with each other.
Yeah.
But who would have ever thought a guy like that? So somebody gave me his book for Christmas, and I've been reading that one here lately. So I don't know if that's the best book for everybody to read, but Maxwell, put the name John Maxwell on the front of it. It'd be a great book.
Yeah. A habit that changed your life.
So, habit. I used to work out like every single day, and I've quit working out every single day, and I got to get back into that. But taking care of myself makes a big, big difference in my life. If I feel better, you don't get as tired, you don't get as angry, you don't get as grumpy, you eat better, and I've got to get back to that habit. But I used to be really, really good at that, and that's a habit I need to work on better today. Okay.
A mistake that taught you the most?
Probably not taking some things as serious as I should have, like college. I was a great college. I had a lot of fun in college. I should have been a better student in college because man, you just have no idea at that age how much those kinds of things are going to impact you in your future. And so if I had a mistake, one of my biggest mistakes, I've always thought I should have gone to law school.
Really?
I thought about it, looked at it, and then I started doing that traveling, speaking thing, and making money, and decided, and I was having more fun doing that. And that was right at that point in my life where it was college. I mean, it was law school or that.
Yeah.
And I went that other direction. I wish I'd have gone to law school. I don't know if I wanted to practice law. I just think having that degree would have been good.
Okay. Best advice that you've ever received?
If it is to just stay focused and stay on target, and have a plan and get it done. I think a lot of people, the infamous New Year's resolution that lasts about a week.
Yeah.
I don't think it takes New Year's to come up with good plans, but planning is a big important part of what you do, and to think where you're headed versus just going out and seeing what happens. I think I lived a life of okay, that didn't quite work. Let's go do this other direction. But if you plan better, you can make better decisions. Okay.
Do you know why you're here on Earth? Do you feel you know what your purpose is, what you're supposed to do?
I think so. I think that I think my communication skill is something that I was supposed to do. Uh-huh. I think my leadership ability is something I was supposed to do, and I found the leadership thing way early, but I didn't know why. I didn't know as a 7th grade student body officer that there was actually a reason you're that one.
Yeah.
But there was only a couple of us that wanted to do it, at that age, and I was class president all the way through high school. I was never on the student government side. I was always on the class side, and I think it was a peer leadership thing, and I really think that's my calling.
Okay. So, again, kind of looking into the future, what do you see for yourself?
Right now, it's a total dedication to this job,
right.
100%. And because of the size of this office, and it is a year-round job, it's not it's not like a state rep job where you serve for a while they're always in office, but you serve for a while and really focus on it for a heavy 3 to 4 months. This is a daily job. I don't take this one lightly. This isn't something that I do kind of when it feels good. So I think that's my thing right now, is just really remain extremely focused on this job, do really, really well with it. We have thoughts in mind of where we want to go with a lot of things, and some of those just take time. And we'll get there. We just got to stay focused on it. Okay.
Anything you want to add before I let the audience
before they jump in? Yeah. I appreciate being here, because I think these are what I have fun doing. This is the fun part of the job. I'm not sitting at a desk. We aren't sitting here having to, answer emails and all the other stuff that comes with it. So thanks for having us out. Thanks for having me out and having conversations, but let's keep doing some of this kind of stuff.
Okay.